What proportion of the population has scores below 20? That'll work with your normal curve as long as you know the percents, which you need to memorize. What proportion has scores below 10? Same thing, it'll work with your normal curve. And how many have scores above 35? Again, it should, as long as you know the percentages that go in your normal curve, you can answer all of those. Now, how high of a score must you have in order to be in the top quarter of the population? That means you need to be at the 0.75 would be where you need to be at. We already talked about to be at the 75th percentile, which would be in the top quarter of the population, that you would need to have a z-score of 0.67. So you're going to say x minus the mean, which is 25, divided by 5 equals 0.67, and that would tell you what score you need to be at. So more algebra there on 44. Number 45, the scores of IQ scores, it gives you a mean of 100, a standard deviation of 15. It tells you that to be gifted, you have to have 135. So 135 minus 100, that's x minus the mean. So 135 minus 100 divided by 15, that will give you your z-score. Find how many people are greater than that. So do a normal CDF of that z-score to 999. That tells you the percent of students that are gifted. Take that number and multiply it by 1,300 to see exactly how many students that is that are gifted. Number 47, helmet sizes. The Army reports that the distribution of head circumference is normal with a mean of 22.8 and standard deviation of 1.1. So go ahead and make your curve. 22.8 is the mean. Go up by 1.1 each way to the right, 3 standard deviations. Go down by 1.1 each way to the left, 3 standard deviations. Helmets are mass-produced for all except the smallest 5% and the largest 5%. Soldiers in the smallest or largest get custom-made helmets. So what head sizes get custom-made helmets? Again, look for the 0.05 in your table to get your z-score. The 0.05 would be either negative 1.64 or negative 1.65 as a z-score. You would say x minus the mean, which is 22.8, divided by 1.1 equals that z-score, and that'll tell you what head size you would have to have. Then look for the 0.95. To be in the upper 5%, you would have to be at the 0.95 in your table. And again, x minus the mean divided by the standard deviation equals that z-score. And when you solve that for x, it'll tell you what head size you would have to be at to be in the upper 5%. As we go to number 49, the last one, it says exercise on page 36. It shows driving times between home and college for Professor Moore. It wants you to make a histogram of these. So that's on page 36. If I go all the way back to page 36, I see the driving times at the top. To make a histogram of these, again, just look at the lowest number and the highest number. Make sure your intervals are the same. Is it roughly symmetric, skewed, or neither? Are there any outliers? And then it says identify the observations that they say are unusual, and then are the remaining observations close to normal? So basically, to figure out if they're close to normal, what I would suggest is take out the outliers, then look at your mean and median, put them in L1, do a one variable stats. If your mean and median are close to each other or almost the same, then you do have a normal distribution and it's not skewed one way or the other. So look at that and see if you can tell when you remove that data, those three numbers, is it now normal? Okay, the quiz tomorrow, I'll go ahead and give you a hint. I told you guys I'll give you a hint on what I'm looking for. It's pretty basic. What I'm looking for is, can you draw a curve? Can you label the mean and all the standard deviations? Do you know what's in each part of the curve? So do you know that there's 0.15% in the far left, then 2.35%, then 13.5%, then 34%, and then the same in the other half, 34, 13.5, 2.35, and 0.15. Also, I'm looking for, do you know the formula for the z-score? X minus the mean divided by the standard deviation, that gives you a z-score. Do you know how to find the percentile, or the percent they're at, which is normal CDF? Do you know how to do less than? That's negative 999 up to that z-score. Do you know how to do greater than? That's that z-score all the way up to positive 999. Those are really the key things in normal distribution. And really, once you understand that, you get a pretty good understanding for the content of Chapter 2. The normal distribution continues to come up later on. So if you don't understand it, I encourage you to ask some questions, come back later on. and ask for help in class before, because we'll move quickly to chapter 3 and then the test will cover both of these. But the quiz, that's all you really need to know. There'll be a lot of questions on those. It'll look, if you could do the homework tonight and were able to do the homework last night, then I think you'll understand it pretty well. The homework tonight is based off of last night, so if you can do these, even if you struggle through them a little bit, but if you can get the answers and you've got it and you know how to work the formulas and do the algebra and everything, then you have these down. But make sure you show your work, make sure you do all the work. Even if you're doing a normal CDF, make sure you write down that you're doing a normal CDF, just like I did in class today. All right, thank you.